Welcome into the Horseshoe, ladies and gentlemen, for a rapid reaction. It is, of course, in the immediate aftermath of Ohio State 38, Indiana 15, an emphatic exclamation point win for Ohio State, the 7th of 8 home games this year in the books. Jerry Emick joins the show along with Tim May, the 41-year vet.
I like Jerry Emick drop-ins.
Absolutely, and me, Spencer Holbrook. Tim, smoke him if you got him.
Hey, Will
Ohio
Howard,
State,
man, did it, showed it best there at the end when he did that little, that mime of putting out the cigarette. I mean,
Yeah.
It was over. Wow, this was such a one-sided game.
Yes.
That the score doesn't even reflect.
Correct. I'm gonna pull up some stats for us.
Two trips into the red zone, and it's not going to show up necessarily in total yards, but 2 trips into the red zone, Ohio State comes up 0. I can't remember the last time they were stopped in the red zone, but the bottom line is it happened, and yet this could have been a runaway at halftime, much less in the second half. But 2 punt plays, the one where the kid, the Indiana punter, can't handle the snap, and Caden Curry tracks him down, and Ohio State gets a quick touchdown, and the Caleb Downs punt return, first one since 2014 against Indiana, in a year when Ohio State went on and won the national championship. That's a harbinger of some sort. I'm not sure what it is.
Sure is.
But the bottom line is Ohio State in a, quote, showdown game. As I tweeted, it went from showdown to shutdown, and quite impressive. Almost a complete victory if you follow my drift. But those 2 trips into the red zone that came up empty leave it not quite fulfilled. But 38 to 14 or 15 against anybody is a quite one-sided win.
Tim, Indiana got the ball with 13 minutes to go in the first quarter, drove 70 yards for an opening touchdown, and you think, well, here we go. Davison Igbinosun, 2 pass interference penalties.
Yep.
Indiana had a little bit of success running the ball. They're throwing the ball down the field, and you think, man, this Hoosier team, they might have something. Indiana had 70 yards on that drive. Tim, Indiana had 151 yards total in the game.
Right. In the first half, they had 53 yards total net in the first half after having a 70-yard drive. That's the tail of the tape.
It is as dominant of a performance against a team with a little number that's in the 1 through 5 range that I have ever seen.
Yeah, and came in with all those points they'd been scoring per game, but against whom, right?
More touchdowns than any team in the country, 2 today, and really, I mean, the garbage time touchdown led to an Ohio State garbage time touchdown to say, hey, Sig, anything you can do, we can do better.
Yeah.
It was dominance. And Ryan Day said, leave no doubt. He said it all year. He said they wanted to put an exclamation point on it with the sneak touchdown down there in the red zone to end the game.
Too bad he didn't let Travion Henderson know that.
Yeah, Travion slid at the 1, and his fantasy owners are really irritated about it, I'm sure.
But I thought that would have been the exclamation point, is you finally cracked their run defense.
Yeah.
Big time, the biggest play of the game in the running game, but then he slid at the 1.
Yeah, so let's talk about a few different things. I'm going to give you a little Sophie's choice here, Tim.
All right.
Will Howard, 14 of 14 to start the game, 22 of 26, over 80% for the 6th time this year, most in Ohio State history. That's option 1. Door number 2, Caleb Downs being the best pure college football player in college football right now, with the 79-yard punt return for a touchdown that put this place into a category that I've only heard it 2 or 3 times in my life. Or a defense led by Cody Simon that blitzed the absolute you-know-what out of Indiana and made Curtis Rourke see just ghosts throughout the second half. Where do you want to go?
I'm going to go to door number 3. Door number 2, Travis Hunter's pretty damn good.
Yeah, we'll talk about Caleb Downs and that, but let's go door number 3 then.
I'll go door number 3 because we've seen Will Howard do this.
Yeah.
But this defense has gotten better and better every week since the loss at Oregon 32-31, not 32 to zip, 32 to 31. The way this defense is playing, you just saw it turn the wick up, man.
Yeah.
In the second quarter, it was like the party's over for your offense, Indiana. Can you get it done with your defense? That was clearly the message that was sent. But Cody Simon, man, at big moments in this season so far, he has just stepped up huge. And with what they want to get done on the line, which is win out since Oregon, get to the Big Ten championship game and go beyond. I just thought that whole exercise by the defense, the pass rush, what were they hearing all week? Indiana walked in with 31 sacks. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what that's leading, but that's a big time number.
Yeah.
Ohio State had how many sacks today?
5.
Yeah, had 5 sacks. Almost had a couple more. emphatic statement made by the defense. I may sound like I'm kind of psyched up about this. I am, because I love it when you see a team really
come of age
in all three facets, because the punt return by Caleb Downs.
We'll get there. I promise we'll get there. I promise we'll get there. Cody Simon was fantastic, though. I don't want to get past this without talking about Cody Simon. 7 total tackles, 2.5 of them were for loss. All 2.5 of those for loss, they were sacks. And one of the sacks was a solo sack where he absolutely lit up Curtis Rourke from the blind side coming off that left end.
Fumble.
Ohio State picks it up now. The Buckeyes didn't score on that drive, and that's an offensive conversation. But the defense did what it was supposed to do, give Ohio State a short field. And time again, Tim, today, this defense gave this offense short fields. They had a 5-yard drive because of a punt that wasn't caught by the Indiana punter when it was kind of misting.
Punt snap.
When there was kind of some flurries of rain sifting through here. That is the special teams doing its job. I know that's on a muff, but who cares?
You know what else? He saw Caden Curry coming, too.
Yeah, exactly. This defense getting that stop. This defense, Indiana finally in the second half crossed the 50-yard line for the second time all game. And what happens immediately after? The defense gets 2 straight sacks, makes Kurt Signetti punt from plus territory.
Yeah.
And he was kind of waving the white flag at that point. At 28-7.
Because he was more bold than that against Michigan.
He sure was, because he knew that he could probably beat Michigan doing that.
Yeah.
He could not do that. He had to be conservative in the second half because he wants to get to the college football playoff. He doesn't want to get blown out here. It was still a blowout. The score doesn't really indicate what it was, though.
No.
And now let's get to it. The turning point in this game, Ohio State's up 14-7, following a touchdown at the end of the half to go up 14-7. They probably should have been up 17-7, 24-7, depending
24-7,
yeah, or even 28-7, depending on where you get your numbers.
Right.
And
conservative.
And the lens you like to see it through.
Yeah.
Indiana goes 3 and out to start the second half. A very quick 3 and out. I think it was a 53-second drive. They're punting down here, right here to the 21-yard line. The ball.
They were punting from there.
Yeah. It takes a little bit of a bounce. Caleb Downs picks it up at the 21-yard line.
Down there.
And makes everyone miss.
Yeah.
You're not going to, spins out of an ankle tackle, weaves and bobs his way, ends up in the corner of the end zone, opposite of which he started. A dazzling.
Did you hear what I asked him?
It was. I will let you say that. But it was a dazzling play, the first punt return in 10 years and 1 day for Ohio State. It turned this game completely upside down. It was the beginning of the end for Indiana. I cannot say enough good things about Caleb Downs. The way that he carries himself, the football player he is, the Buckeye that he has become, and the punt returner that he is. A special player, and now I'm just going to take the leash off and let you go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't mean to keep interrupting.
No, you're good.
But every time you make one statement, it just piques something in my brain.
Yeah.
You know how.
That's what Caleb Downs will do to you.
I'm 70, but I still have impulse syndrome. The great thing about that was, number one, I asked him the question. I said, everybody knew you were pretty good with the ball in your hands. You could Google it.
Yeah.
He even got that joke, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, it was such a team punt return too. He got some good pickup early in that return from guys blocking already. But then when he comes down here to about the 35-yard line, C.J. Hicks lays out a guy.
Yeah,
he cuts inside, gets an escort from Caden Curry, Mr. Punt Team.
Yeah,
I think
unsung hero.
Yeah,
really.
Unsung hero. What he's done on the punt team the last 3 weeks, just getting after people. And then he and Denzel Burke escort him into the end zone.
Hey, and the little peace sign was great too.
Exactly. So Caleb Downs is special. You can Google that also, and everybody knows it. But he finally got that ball in his hands with a chance to do something with it. And game over, as Will Howard said. He felt like that was the real decisive point. Now you're up 21-7 at that point, and Katie barred the door.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance by Caleb Downs, an impressive performance by Cody Simon.
You know what Katie barred the door means, right?
Oh yeah.
It means shut off the saloon. We're about to beat everybody up.
Yeah. Well, they beat every Hoosier in the building up today. Last thing we're going to talk about here today. We'll talk about a lot more on Monday. I pinky promise. Man, Will Howard, when he gets just it takes him a sliver of confidence for that guy, and he's just like a stone cold killer. Yeah. If it weren't for a ball that just completely went off of Jelani Thurman's hands, he's turnover free in this game. He only had 4 incompletions. One of them was on the interception. Should have only been 3 incompletions. He ran for a touchdown there at the end. He threw a perfect pass to Emeka Egbuka for a touchdown. Like, he brings some fire. And listen, I am not comparing him to CJ Stroud, and I'm not going to compare him the other way to Kyle McCord. He brings a fire to this locker room, this offense, this team, the coaching staff even. They feed off of him that I have not seen in the last 3 years for Ohio State. Up at the podium, him talking about, I cannot wait to play Michigan. He said Michigan, then corrected himself. He gets it. I am so impressed with him. It's a shame that people don't see around the country what he's doing for this team because they think he's just a game manager. He's so much more, and he's proving it every week. He belongs in the Heisman Trophy conversation. He's not going to get there with only a couple games left. But, man, you can't say enough about him, Tim. Like, he was brought in to be a manager of the game, and instead, he has been so much more than that. It's so impressive what he does. I don't know. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic, but, man.
Man, I had to fight interrupting you.
Tooth and nail.
I had to fight interrupting you because it would have been an amen or a,
Hallelujah.
Yeah, or a digression of some sort. The bottom line is, I even tweeted this as the game went on. Ohio State should have thrown the ball 50 times today.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Indiana's pass defense thing looks like on paper, etc. But the bottom line, they were kind of knocking their head against the wall trying to run the ball. We all saw that.
Yeah.
Indiana was really quick getting into the backfield, etc. Things like that. Blew some things up. Really took the rhythm out of a couple of Ohio State possessions. But if Will Howard had gotten to throw the ball 50 times today, he might have hit 350 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, and might have completed 45 of those passes. Guys were open. Emeka Egbuka, one of the great moves for that touchdown, but they had him matched up on a linebacker, defensive end, quasi linebacker.
Yeah, poor guy.
Well, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but what a nice little pass that Will Howard dropped in right in this corner over here, the back left corner of the south end zone. Just right on down the line. And the idea that Will Howard is out of the Heisman, I just don't understand the Heisman race at this point. I don't understand who's in the running, but I vote for the Heisman.
You're not
every
allowed to
year.
say that.
It's like my 41st year, but he's under my serious consideration of being on my top 3 list. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not
been
saying
damn good, Tim.
who I'm voting. Yeah, of course he has. And he delivered some passes right on the money when Ohio State needed him today. Too bad that when they faced that 3rd and 35 from right back here, first he rolls out or scrambles right and hits Carnell Tate for what? 20 or 25 of it.
Yep.
And then the next play hits Carnell Tate for the next 10 of it, or more than that. But then they don't fulfill that drive.
Yeah, Carnell played really well today.
That was one of their red zone hiccups, finally on that job. But it was too bad because that was just a tour de force by Will Howard, never giving up, never saying die, and these wide receivers being semi to wide open most of the day. Jeremiah Smith had I'm not sure how many catches. He didn't have a catch until late in the first half or early in the second. But the bottom line is they did this with Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate. And so I'm getting carried away here only because I don't believe in the Heisman Trophy race being anywhere near over. I can name you who my top guys are, but and a lot of people know who they are. I mean, they're obvious.
Yeah.
But Will Howard should be one of them.
Yeah.
He's knitting this offense together. He's what it goes through. And by the way, before you get the mic again, and I don't get it back, and I'm just joking.
We are going to wrap up soon.
Austin Searveld
Carson
Hinsman. Remember who I said was going to be my MVP of the offense in this game. They get my MVP award because they came through in flying colors. I mean, Searveld on that one touchdown plunge by Travion Henderson, when they just basically went student body left, it was a zone play. He blocked his guy almost to the sideline. Enough said.
Absolutely. Emeka Egbuka, 7 catches, 80 yards and a touchdown. I had him at 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I consider myself half credit there. Carnell Tate, 4 catches, 68 yards. Jeremiah Smith, just 3 catches for 34 yards, but hey, did his job. I think a couple of those were on 3rd down.
Should have thrown to him a lot more.
Yeah, they probably could have, but you know what? They were trying to establish the run at the end of the game. Like Ryan Day said, Travion squirted through, got one down into the red zone. Will Howard finishes it with an exclamation point.
You know what? Sometimes you got to approach a game by eating the dessert first.
Yeah.
The dessert was Indiana had no idea how to stop Ohio State's passing game.
Yeah. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, eat the dessert first, folks. Here's the last thing I'm gonna end on. I said this week, and I talked about on Thursday on my live show, This was the perfect game for Ohio State to have before the Michigan game. A top 5 game. If this Indiana team was 7-3, if they were 6-4, I think they would have given Ohio State some challenges because I don't think Ohio State would have been looking right at Indiana. I think they would have had an eye on the future to the Michigan game. The fact this was a top 5 game, Ohio State full attention on Indiana. Listen, man, we've been in there a lot. You've been in there way more times than I have, but I've now been in there for quite a few games. I've never seen a team after a top 5 win or even a ranked win of any sort just, nope, we're on to the next one. Ryan Day said, we're going to celebrate this because you have to, but it is not going to be a long night tonight. We're going to get to sleep, we're going to wake up tomorrow, and we're going to turn our attention to Michigan.
No, he said they'd already turned their attention to Michigan.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. This team,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
This team has every single chance to absolutely paste Michigan next week. Now, whether they do that, that's on Ohio State. It's also on Michigan to come in with a full effort. But, like, man, they are full steam ahead. They're playing well at the right time. You really like what they're showing. This crowd was freaking awesome today. I've been a little critical of the folks inside Ohio Stadium, and I'm fully well aware of that. It was awesome today. Yep. It was rocking. Indiana had to go to a silent count. It completely messed them up compared to the clap that Curtis Rook usually does. Kurt Signetti talked about it post-game, how impactful the crowd was today. Like, kudos to you, Buckeye Nation, and kudos to Ohio State for turning its attention to Michigan like that.
Yeah.
I just think that those two things are noteworthy before we get out of here.
Well, of course they're noteworthy. I mean, what is Michigan? What is Michigan this year? Michigan has a 3-game win streak in the series. Yep. Michigan has been to the Big Ten championship game and won it the last 3 years. Michigan won the national championship last year. Ryan Day has a 3-game losing streak to Michigan. Even Will Howard, who, like you said, made one quick gaffe and then corrected it by calling it Michigan instead of the team up north. Everybody understands what's at stake here. It's getting the weight off your back. It's getting to the place where you want to return to, which is the Big Ten championship game on December 7th in Lucas Oil against Oregon. Oregon, figuratively, is already sitting there waiting on them for the rematch. Yeah. It's really what we thought in preseason was going to happen in the Big Ten race. Yep. Despite all the surprises that have been around the Big Ten with Indiana, et cetera, and the nation, if Ohio State gets past Michigan, it cements its ticket back to Lucas Oil, and that's a big deal. This game means as much as it almost always has.
Absolutely.
That's why it's called the game.
It's going to be a lot of fun. This place was rocking today. I cannot imagine what this place is going to feel like next Saturday. It's going to be, as the kids say, off the chain. I don't think the kids say that anymore, if that's okay. We're going to get out of here. That's Tim May, the 41-year vet. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Ohio State, number 2 Ohio State, 38. Number 5 Indiana, unbeaten no more, 15. 38-15 the final here in the Horseshoe. That's, of course, Tim May. I'm Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Go to lettermenrow.com right now. $1 for your first 7 days, 50% off a full year after that. It gets you through next year's Michigan game. It's going to be awesome. We'll be there every step of the way. It's Lettermen Row. You know that. Like the video below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then go to lettermenrow.com. We'll be breaking down Ohio State 38, Indiana 15 for a long time. And then we're going to turn our full attention to Michigan. It's going to be a great week. We'll see you guys over at lettermenrow.com.